Hi everyone, welcome to our Recitation 12. In this recitation, we would like to introduce the processing for large data sets, including the usage of pivot tables. Okay, so before this recitation, you need to download the example3 file, and this file is located in the Canvas Files tool. You need to click the Recitation Information folder and find your TA's name, which is Weizhi Wang. Okay, click this one. And you can see the file, which is called example3. And click this file and click download. After you have downloaded this file, you can just open this file. Okay, so for the example3 file, we have three worksheets. You can see sales, transaction 1, and transaction 2. So first we click sales. We need to create a pivot tables using this worksheet. Okay, so how to create a pivot tables is pretty easy. You can just randomly click on any cell within this dataset, and then click the Insert tab right here on the top of this page. Click Insert tab, and you can see an icon called Pivot Table. It is the first icon of this tab. So click Pivot Tables, and I think you can keep all the default setting as you for creating a pivot table. The selected range is correct, and you need to just create a new worksheet for presenting this pivot table. Okay, and then you keep all the default setting and then click OK. So the software will automatically create a new worksheet and also with a pivot table. Okay. So after we have already created a new pivot table, we need to select the manner we want to present our data. So after you have already created pivot table, you can see the pivot table screen, which is on the right of this page. It is called pivot table fields. So now we first need to select the data we want to present. So the first one should be country. And we have two countries, which are UK and USA. And next should be order date. So click on the order date, and it will show the dataset has 3 years, which is from 2010 to 2012. Okay, and the quarters and years will be selected together. Okay, so after you click on the order date checkbox, you can just check salesperson. Click salesperson, and then just check order amount. Okay, so this is our first pivot table. So we just present our dataset in this structured manner. So the first level column name is the country name, right? And within the country name, we present the order date and also with the salesperson and order amount. And the sum of order amount are presented as our second column. Okay. And now when faced with a problem, when we just check the order date checkbox, the pivot table check quarters and years together, so the structure for the date may look disorganized. So we want to just select the components of the dates. So how to do this? When you just click on the pivot table, it will show the pivot table tools, and you can click on the Analyze tab, and then you can see a button which is called Group Selection. So the introduction of the usage of group selection is creating a group containing the selected items. So click Group Selection, and now you can just select the years and months. So you you don't need to select the quarters. Okay, so the order date will be organized as years and then months. Okay, so click OK. Okay, now you can see our dataset is well organized. The order date has just two components. First is the year, and second level is the months. Okay, so now we need to just introduce the collapsing and expanding data. For now, if our dataset is pretty large, if we just expand all the data within this pivot table, it will be hard to catch the information. So how to just collapse or expand the pivot table? So you can use these two buttons. So the first button is called expand field. It is used for expanding all items of the active field. And second button is called collapse field. It is used for collapsing all items of the active field. So I can show you the functionality of this button. So if you click collapse field, it will just close the structure of this pivot table. And it will only show you the high level structure of this pivot table. Like the first level structure is just the country name. And if you want to see the second level structure, which is order date, the years, so you can just click the expanding field button. Click this one, and it will show you the second level structure, which is year. And click once again, it will show you the third level structure, which is months. Okay, so it is a brief introduction to the pivot table. And now, please click on the second worksheet, which is called transaction 1. Okay, so we can go to this worksheet, and then we need to creating a second pivot table. Okay, so the steps for creating a second pivot table is also the same. Click any cell within this dataset, and click Insert tab, click Pivot Tables, and keep all the setting for creating pivot tables the same, and click OK. Okay, so this is our new pivot table. And the checkboxes you need to check is first the category name, and then product name, and then ship country. After ship country is ship city, and the fifth is quantity. Okay, so this is the pivot table 2. The pivot table is too large, so we can just collapse the field. Okay, so click this button, collapse field. So now using the pivot table, we just present our dataset with the structure, which is displaying the quantity sold by category, which means that for each category, we present the sum of the quantity sold. Okay. So now, if we want to just modify this pivot table, for example, we want to add some new columns, like, so the columns now are just the row labels and also the sum of quantity. And maybe we just want to present the unit price or discount, something like that. So how to do this? Okay, I will show you. In order to present a new column, we need to do something on the pivot table fields. Because the since here is too small, so we zoom out this area. Okay. So now you can see we have four components of this pivot table fields. First is the filters, second is columns, and next is rows, and the last one is values. So now if we want to just create a new column, we can just drag the rows into the columns. So for example, we can just drag the ship country into the columns. Okay. So now you can see the structure of this pivot table is changed. We just present the sum of quantity by country. So we just present the quantity for each country. Okay. So this is the new column. But if we don't want to just classify this pivot table using the ship country, we can just drag the ship city into this area into the columns. So now you can see we just present the quantity sold by each city. Okay, so this is the modification on the pivot table. And one more thing, if you don't want to see the sum of the quantity, for example, you want to see any other functionality of these values, you can just click value field setting, and you can make it as count or average or max or min of the quantity. Okay, so this is the usage of the value components. And now we have already introduced the last three components, including the columns, the rows, and the values. So how to use the filters within the pivot tables? So for example, we just want to present a part of our dataset. So we need to add a filter to the pivot table. So how to do this? Now you can see a checkbox within the pivot table fields, which is called shipper name. So the thing we want to do is we want to present the quantity versus the shipper name. So which means that we want to just add the shipper name as a filter for this pivot table. So how to add the shipper name as a filter? So you can just click on this item, which is called shipper name, and then drag the shipper name into the filters. And you can see within the cell of A1 to B1, there is a filter right here. So you can click this button, and you can select the specific shipper. For example, we can just select the federal shipping. Okay. And then it will just show the, okay, we can just change the structure. Okay. So now it will just present the quantity shipped by the shipper called federal shipping. So the grand total is just 15,453. And if we just change to Speedy Express, and the grand total will be changed into 50,919. Okay, so this is the usage of filter. Okay, so I will just give you one small task, and this task is worth of 1 extra point. Okay, so now we have the worksheet, which is called transaction 1, and we have already created a pivot table on this worksheet. So I just need to change the structure of this pivot table. So right now, the pivot table, the structure of this pivot table is ship country versus sum of quantity, right? Okay, so we move this, we just move out this filter. So the structure of this pivot table is ship country versus sum of quantity. And I need to, oh sorry, the category name versus sum of quantity. And I want you to do a small modification on this pivot table. I want you to just make the high level, the first level structure of this pivot table into ship country versus sum of quantity. Okay, so I think the step will be pretty easy. You can just move the ship country to the first place of the rules component, and I need you to just tell me what the grand total for, sorry, what is the sum of quantity for the country Australia. Okay, I can write the extra question. What is the sum of quantity sold by Australia? Okay, so I need you to just report this number to me. You can just fill in the Google form I provide to you via the Canvas announcement. Okay, so if you want to get this data, this answer, it will be very easy. You just need to just drag the ship country into the first place of the rules, and then you can just see the sum of quantity sold by Australia here in this area. Okay, so you just need to report this number and you will get 1 extra point. Okay, so till now I think we have already finished the first part of this recitation, the pivot tables. And now we want to just introduce the Excel tables. The Excel tables can provide filtering and sorting capabilities for all columns. And now we need to change to transaction 2 worksheet. And on the top of the first row and on the left of the first column, you can see one specific cell. And if you click this one, so you can just select all the data set within this worksheet. Okay. So now we need to create the Excel table. We also need to just click Insert tab. And within the Insert tab, you can see an icon which is called Table. So it is used for creating a table to organize and analyze the related data. So click on the table, and it will just show you where is the data for your table, and sorry, I think we don't need to change this area. Sorry. So okay, just click OK. Sorry, you don't need to click on this cell to select all the data. You can just click on any cell within this data set, and then click the table icon. Click this one, and it will just select all the data sets for you automatically, and just click OK. So the range is from A1 to L2000 and 156. So click OK. Okay. So now the Excel table is created successfully. After you have already created the Excel table, you can see within the first row, for each header of this table, we can see a menu here. So this menu is for sorting or filtering the whole data set. Okay, and later we will give you some introductions on these sorting and filtering functions. So what is the advantage of creating a Excel table? I think you should remember during the previous recitations, if we have the unit price and also their discount right here, if we want to just calculate the net price for the whole data set, we need to just write formula here, and then use the autofill to just compensate for all the cells within this column to just create a new column, right? So even they created the Excel table, we can use a very quick method to create the new column, which is called net price. We can use the structured formula. Okay, so after unit price and discount, you can just create a new column, and we name this column as net price. Okay, so on the first header, oh sorry, on the first cell of this column, we can just use the structure formula to calculate the net price. So in the cell of J2, we can write equal, and after equal, we make it as unit price times 1 minus discount. Okay, so the structure formula is a little bit different from our previously introduced formula. For our previous formula, the selected object should be the cell within this worksheet, right? But after we create an Excel table, the selected object can be a column of the whole dataset. For example, the net price can be calculated as unit price times 1 minus discount, right? And you can just use a pair of brackets, and within the brackets, we just write the column header name unit price here. So we can select the whole column together. So this is called the structure formula. Using the structure formula, we can create and calculate a new column very, very quickly, right? So press tab. It's very intelligent, right? So the Excel has already calculated the net price for us. Okay, after we have already created the first new column using the structure formula, we can create a new one. Okay, click insert to insert a new column and change the column name into net sale. Okay, so how to compute net sale? It will be very easy. You can use net sale plus quantity. The quantity is right here. Within the column C is a quantity. So the net sale can be computed easily, which is quantity times net price, right? So this is the net sale. And this is our second structure formula. We first select the quantity column and then times net price column, and then we press tab, and the net sale is computed correctly. Okay, so this is the first functionality of the Excel table. And actually, the main usage of the Excel table is the sorting and filtering functions. So when you just created a Excel table, you can see all the column header is added with a menu right here. And using this menu, we can filtering and sorting the whole data set. For example, if we need to select the records related to Germany for net sale between 20 and 200 and $500. So how to do this? Okay, so because our country is just Germany, so we can just click. We need to first uncheck the select all and then check the country which is called Germany. Click OK. So we only get the data for ship country equal to Germany. And then because we just want to see the net sale between $200 and $500, so we need to use the filtering on the net sale. Okay, so first click on the net sale, and then you can see a choice which is called number filters, and we can click the choice which is between. So click between, and it should be is greater than or equal to 200 and is less than or equal to 500, and then click OK. Now we select the net sale, which is between $200 and $500, and the dataset is presented only for the ship country, which equal to Germany. Okay. So after we do this, we want to sort the selected dataset by product name. So now we can just click on the second column and click the menu for product name, and we can click sort from A to Z. Okay, so now we have already done the filtering and the sorting on this dataset. Okay, so this is the usage of sorting and filtering. It's pretty easy, right? Okay, so at the end of the recitation, I want to just give you a small task. Okay, so what you need to do is to change the filter so that only dates in the second quarter of 2013 are displayed. Okay, I can just print the I can just print your task here. Okay. So your task is to change the filter so that only dates in the second quarter of 2013, which is days between April 1st to June 30 of 2013 are displayed. And also, you need to add a filter. Only information that has a quantity greater than 20 are displayed. Second job is to sort it by ship city and ship name. Okay, so this is your task. We can give you some reminders. The number filters option should be used when filtering numbers or dates. The checkboxes should be used only for text-based data. Okay. So now you need to just finish this task for you, including 3 subtasks. And you can now click stop, and because I need to show you the solution right now. You can do it by yourself first. You can click stop and do it by yourself, and then move on to see my solution. Okay. So our job, so we have three subtasks. First is to change the filter. We just want to see the second quarter of 2013. So the first thing we need to change is the year, right? So now you can see the order date. Okay, before that, we need to first close the previous filters we have already set it. So it's the national and the country. Okay, so now we select the order date. Okay, so we just want to see we only select the year 2013. We only select the year for 2013, and we just select, we can click the plus button and just select the month for 4. Okay, so the selected months are from April to June. Okay, now we can only see the order date, which is within the year of 2013, and the selected months are only from April to June. Okay, so this is the first filter. And the second, we just want to see the information which has a quantity greater than 20. Okay, so right here you can see the quantity and select this one and add a number filter which is greater than 20. Okay, click OK. This is our second filters. So now we want to sort it by ship city and the ship name. Okay, so the ship city, we first sort it by ship city. Click from A to D. And then we click ship name from A to Z. Okay. So now this is a new structure for this dataset. We add a different sorting and filters for this Excel table. Okay, so this is the end of this recitation. At the end of this recitation, I also want to remind you, don't forget fill in this Google form and submit it to me. And if you have already answered the extra point question, and I will take the record of predence for this recitation 12 and also give you 1 extra point. Okay, so that's the end for recitation 12. Bye everyone.